told me this like a long time ago, but I think I better tell you now because someone that is watching this video really needs to hear more about this. All right, good evening. Today we are talking about how to stop outsourcing your voice to other people. If you're an introverted leader, this is really a good point for you. I have a couple of quotes for you. I'll start with this. The moment other people become editors of your identity, you start shrinking. I'm going to repeat. The moment other people become editors of your identity, you stop shrinking, which is why it's so important to stop outsourcing your voice to other people and for other people. There's so much I want to say, and I have my notes with me, so I make sure that I stick to time and that we don't go overtime today, because that just wouldn't be good for you guys. So let me know where you guys are watching from. I'd love to know who you are. And if you're an introverted leader or speaker, how can this type of subject help you in this type of conversation? All right. So what is, we're talking about outsourcing your voice. When does these things happen? I believe from my experience from living in Ghana, from traveling, from having been an introvert my whole life and most of my life, I believe that you start to outsource your voice because you feel that people are pushing your boundaries. Yeah, let me know if you agree with that. People are pushing your boundaries. You also start to feel this kind of need to outsource your voice when people minimize your mistakes, or they try to overcompensate, or they assume that your softness, the way that you speak, the way that you are as a quiet leader, is a form of weakness. Let me tell you something, it's not. Your softness and your quietness as an introverted leader, it's not weakness, not at all. Yeah, you with me? Put a little like in the chat if you agree with me. People underestimate quiet people. People underestimate quiet people. If you've ever been underestimated as a quiet leader, as an introvert, let me know in the chat. Yes, that's me. Yes, I've been underestimated so many times. And that's why you have to stop outsourcing your voice for other people. You have to. There's zero way that life can improve and can get better if you continue to outsource your voice to other people. Like, it really can't work. Okay. So what is outsourcing your voice? Let me tell you what outsourcing your voice is. Outsourcing your voice is when you feel like you have to over explain yourself all of the time. Can I get an amen for that? If that's you, you feel that you have to over explain yourself because just being yourself and just talking to people in general feels like it's like you're speaking another language. It's like everything about you and everything that you're trying to communicate feels like no one understands you, but you speak the same language as everybody else. Can I get an amen for that? Yeah, you know what that is. How you doing, Bunny Bob man? Yeah. Outsourcing your voice is always also waiting for permission, waiting for people to give you permission to speak. You don't need permission to speak, but you feel like you have to have permission to speak because other people will make you feel this way. Why? Because you're quiet, because you're an introvert, because you don't quite know exactly what words to say to express yourself on the dot. Yeah? Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where, okay, you're approached by someone and or you're at work or in a different situation and you someone said something to you and you wanted to reply and you wanted to be like pow 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 pow, but like it was all in your head and like everything you wanted to say is like literally here and you couldn't really say it, and by the time you were finished the other person left, or by the time you had the opportunity to say something, then the person that you wanted to say it to has already gone and the moment has gone, right? And that's another way. Yeah. Hi, Kasika Mema. Right. So what's the other way that you outsource our voice? Yeah. We make ourselves feel small. How you doing, Emma? I hope you're doing well. We make ourselves feel small for other people. Can I get a yes? Can I get a like? Can I get a yes? That's me. Have you ever made yourself feel small for someone else? Your friends, your family, your workplace? You wanted to shine at the work meeting, but you didn't. You wanted to take that trip to another country or move to another country, but you didn't. Yes, that is making yourself feel small for other people. It's not gonna help you. Oh, Bia, how you doing, baby? Yes, it's not gonna help you. It's not gonna help you to minimize yourself. It's not gonna help you to make you feel small. So you have to take that risk. You have to take that chance. You have to take that trip. Move to another country. Don't make yourself feel small for other people just because they're not doing the same thing as you. That's not it. All right. The other way we make ourselves feel small, we outsource ourselves, is we allow or we let louder people define our reality. Yeah. We allow louder people. Now, for those of you who don't realize, I am born an introvert. I am an ambivert. I know. You're like, how are you an introvert, Matty, when you teach public speaking and confidence? Well, I was born that way. Everything happens in my head. And I've improved because of personal development, improving, self-improving myself. I'm taking ownership, really, really working on myself. That's why I'm more in the middle now. I look like an introvert a lot of the times because I have more confidence and I can speak, but everything still happens in my head. I get overwhelmed all the time. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Yeah? All right, let me know in the comments. So we live in a world where there's so many loud noises, there's loud people, and we cannot be defined by those loud voices. Like all those people that are louder than us, we can't allow ourselves to be defined by that. Yeah. The last way that we outsource our voice, we self edit ourselves to keep the peace. Have you ever been in a situation where you really wanted to say something to someone else and you know it was right? You know you were in the right and not in the wrong, but just because you were afraid to mess up the relationship, you didn't say anything. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? You know what I'm talking about. Right. And that is how we outsource our voice for other people. It's a crime. It's wrong. You have to stop doing this to yourself. We have to stop doing it to ourselves as introvert. Like today I really want to encourage you to stop doing this to yourself. It's horrible. Having lived in a different country and I've tried so many things in the last few months, I have had to put myself in uncomfortable situation, to speak up for myself, um to go out and do things that made me feel uncomfortable. So, in situation where new and old friends may not understand my growth or what I'm doing, and they might think everything I'm doing is crazy, I've had to take that step, right? Because if I don't take that step, I am committing a crime against myself. Guys, you are committing a crime against yourself if you are not taking the steps. As someone who's living in a country or even a place where people use your kindness and take it for granted, I am standing up for myself as an introvert. And I want you guys to look at this example, because you can stand up for yourself. It's such an important and powerful thing that you can do for yourself. Stop committing the crime of being silent. Yeah. Another thing, um, as I said, we live in a world where we are continuously intimidated by introvert. Yeah. And we have to get to the stage where we say what we believe and what we feel with confidence without feeling that the other person is going to eat us, or, I don't know, kill us or do something bad to us. Like, even if they say something, You have to say it and you have to do it with absolute conviction that nothing and no one is going to hurt you. I know it's scary. You're like, Massey, like, no, 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 that's impossible. Like, how do you do that? You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. So I want to show you, I want to give you 3 examples of free rooms in 3 ways where introverts shrink in their personal voice, and maybe different ways how they can stop doing that. Okay? Are you ready with me? I want you to put your questions in the comments. If you are one of those people that's been outsourcing your voice for other people and you want to learn how to stop doing that, please put your question in the comments to me so I can come back to it and then I can answer it for you. Yeah. So here are examples of places where introvert quiet leaders shrink, the type of places they shrink. So we shrink in authority, we shrink in relationships, and we shrink in visibility. When I'm talking about authority, I'm talking about the workplace, I'm talking about the doctor's office, the government places, the systems that we work with. We are always and continuously shrinking as introvert in those places because of the rules or how those places are supposed to legally or support us. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go against their words. Yeah. And that's when you have to start doing something. So we'll give you an example for each one. The second one is relationships. As I said, relationships, as introvert, we shrink in our relationship when it comes to friends, family, and romantic relationships. Yeah? You agree with me? Trust me, I've been the good girl. It doesn't help. Being the nice person does not help. Yeah? You shrink yourself because you don't want to be the bad person. You shrink yourself because you don't want to be the bad friends. Because sometimes you have to be honest with your friends. When everybody wants to go left, but you want to go right because it's your personal decision, you have to say something. When your family has been brought a certain way and you know you've always wanted to do something different, you have to do something. You have to stand out. There's no other way. Even if you're the black sheep of the family, right? And finally, in romantic relationship, oh, I could give you so many stories of romantic relationship. In romantic relationship, where you feel like you can't be your full self in that relationship, you have to you have to learn to speak up. You have to learn to express to the person that you love or that you care about that whatever is happening in that relationship is either helping you or not making you feel comfortable, regardless of the reaction of other people. And these are the places where we shrink. We shrink in those places as introvert. We shrink in those places as quiet leaders. Yeah. How could you improve those things? So let me give you an example. When I was living in London, I had a condition called fibroid, which became a fibroid disease situation because I would bleed really bad and it was really painful for like 5 years. And every time I went to the doctors, they undermined my situation to the point when it got really bad and I had to have an operation. And I realized that every time I was going to the doctors and telling them I was in pain, they would continuously say, "Oh no, you're just a girl. You're just a woman. This happens to all the women all the way through the year. This is how it is." And I had to decide one thing, right? I had to choose, okay, should I speak up for myself or should I continue? Because not speaking up for myself meant that I was still in pain every day. Not speaking up for myself meant that I would I would be the one suffering, and this condition inside of me would continue growing. So I had to learn to become my own advocate. I had to question the doctors. I had to disagree with them. I had to get 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of opinion so that I am able to fight for my solution. And that's how I received my operation and it got better. Yeah. Okay. Another example that you can start to change how you just shrink in relationship, friendship, etc., etc. Here's the thing: when you want to do something, like when you have an idea, when you have a goal that you want to achieve, one of the best things to do is not to tell anybody. Yeah, one of the best things to do when you want to achieve a goal, when you have a big idea, is not to tell anybody. Yeah, you're like, no, Matty, I have to tell my best friend. I have to explain to my best friend why I'm leaving the country, why I'm traveling, why I'm changing jobs, why I'm breaking up with this guy. I have to tell them. No, you actually don't. You actually don't have to do that. Let me tell you why you don't have to tell your friends, your family that you want to change countries straight away. You can hold it, you can hold on to your dream for a little while. Yeah, I'm not saying cut up your friends. Here's what I'm saying. Yeah, are you with me? What I'm saying is, when you have a big idea, write it down on paper. I don't have my notebook, but it's somewhere here. I wanted to show you. Write it down on paper. Have a diary, plan, do the research, and do it thoroughly for a year, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, until you are fully ready to launch yourself. Yeah. And copyright your idea. Yeah. I copyright all of my ideas online because you don't know you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who is really on your side and you don't know who is not on your side. So the most important thing you want to do when you have a big idea, big goal, keep it to yourself. And look for people who are going in the same direction as you. If you are going into business, look for people that are going into business that you can have those type of conversation with, because your friend from high school doesn't understand. They're going to say to you, oh, how's that small business thing that you're doing? How's that small YouTube channel thing that you're doing? How's that small skating matcha wellness event that you're doing? Like, how is that going? It's both infuriating, sarcastic, and putting you down, really. And as much as they care about you, they don't understand where you are coming from and where you're going. Yeah. Which is why the best thing you can do to yourself, for your relationship, friendship, whatever, is keep your dream to yourself and look for the people that will nurture the dream. Yeah. They're going in the same direction as you. Okay. For romantic relationship, the same. Yeah. If you're ready to speak to your partner and they'll be completely okay with it, then share it. But if they're not, just keep the dream to yourself. Keep it to yourself until you feel confident. Because what will happen is you'll come against objections. People will tell you, well, do you have enough money? How are you going to survive? I remember one time I was traveling to Japan. Anybody else ever been to Japan before? Yes? No? Well, you're missing out. Japan is amazing, like beautiful, so amazing. And Japan is so amazing that I always wanted to go to Japan. And I remember I always used to say to myself, when I become an adult, when I grow up, I'm gonna go to Japan. And one day I was in this job where I got made redundant, means I lost my job, and I got a big lump sum of money, like a couple of grand, like 2, 3, 4 grand. And I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna go to Japan. However, I was not really clever. I thought, let me get my sister's opinion. Let me get my best friend's opinion because I'm going to go very far and I really want to share this great idea with them. They'll understand. Boy, was I wrong. Okay? I was so wrong. So, so wrong. My best friend said to me, there's no black people in Japan. You are possessed. Yeah, we're not friends anymore. My sister said to me, that's too far. Once again, there's no black people in Japan. You shouldn't go. What if something goes bad? Yes. And I listened to those voices. And guess what? That first year, I didn't go to Japan and I wasted like 3-4 grand, like just like that. Just like that. I didn't go to Japan. I didn't follow my dream. And I was second year, I said to myself, all right, let's do this again. Let's try this again. So I went to a library and I came across this book that says, work your way around the world. I started studying, going to Japan. I said to myself, I'm going to do it. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to Japan. I put everything through and I started planning, I started researching. By the time it was time to go to Japan, I told my family and my friends at the last minute. And guess what? It was fantastic. I went to Japan. I didn't have I had objections afterwards, but by this time, I was in such a better, more confidence position that no one could have told me, Matty, you shouldn't go to Japan. So, this is what I mean by you have to keep your goal a secret to yourself and find the people that will add to you. Not tell your closest friend, unfortunately, because not everybody will understand. You may have 1 or 2 people that will understand, but I always encourage people, start with yourself. The last one is visibility. Yeah. What is visibility? Visibility is, as we said, visibility could be launching yourself um, in a business. It could be public speaking. It could be speaking on camera or at work, right? So if you ever wanted to start a business, if you ever wanted to become a content creator, if you ever wanted to learn how to public speak or how to speak on camera, you are going to come across your own self-doubts and voices that are going to tell you, well, I'm not good enough. I've never done this before and it will never happen. The only way you are going to overcome the fear of shrinking in that room is by taking action. Okay. I want to see you put in the comment, I will overcome my fear of visibility by taking action. That's the only way. So more than like 15 years ago, I wanted to do public speaking as a coach and I wanted to reach the world, transform the world, do great things. And I went to this event. I knew I was going to lose my job. I went to this event and they said, they sat down in a group and they kept saying to me, you need to start a YouTube channel because you want to reach a big number of people. And this is my reply. I said, no, like, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't do that video stuff. It's not for me. That was 20, not 2011, 2008, before 2011, before I lost my job. So it started in 2008 and I started making videos, but I was making them private. I didn't share them. And I started a blog called What the Job Is This? Mm-hmm. It was the boldest thing that I've ever done. And it was actually my first business venture. What the Job Is This was a blog which kind of talked about what would I do with myself if I lost everything, because my father was sick with cancer. I had lost my mom before and I was about to lose my job and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself, even though I had been a career coach for like over 10 years at the time and I had loads of experience and I knew how to transition from jobs. So I started this blog and I was keeping these videos private and posting on my blog. And unfortunately, destiny had it in for me. Like, God made it that I had a terrible accident, incident, or hopeful accident. My father passed away, and that same month when my father passed away, I started posting my videos. That is the motivation for me to stop being shy behind the camera, for me to be able to speak in front of the camera. Like, I knew how to speak to people, like in groups, face to face. I was just terrified of doing what I'm doing now. So whenever people come into the room, when there's like 0 people in the room, when there's like 1 or 2 people in the room, I was terrified of that. I was terrified of showing myself on the video, being public where everybody could criticize me, could see me. Like, I was terrified of my phone freezing and my videos freezing, my Wi-Fi falling and falling off the chair, which I've done all of that. I was terrified of the sound not working and anything you could ever imagine. So I did not post the videos. And I had to end up having an awful thing happen to me for me to actually take a chance. And I want to encourage you, right? I really want to encourage you. You don't have to wait till something bad to happen to you before you can be visible. Don't do it. Don't do it. You really don't want destiny and God to be like, okay, you don't want to do that job or that business I've been telling you about. You're going to do it now. No, you don't want that. You don't want that to happen. You really want to be at a good place where you're able to become visible at your own pace. So start now. Don't wait for something terrible or crazy traumatic to happen. Start now. Start being visible now. All right. But here's the thing. I know that as an introvert, a lot of people underestimate you as a person. I know it because it happens to me all the time. Many, many, many times I get underestimated by people. I get underestimated by collaborators that have worked with who think they can cheat me, they can lie to me, they can pretend. I get underestimated by people who believe that they can abuse of my kindness. That happens all the time. But here's the thing, being underestimated is your advantage. I repeat, being underestimated is your personal advantage because quiet people observe deeply. I repeat, quiet people observe deeply. They look deeply. They see deeply. They appreciate more things. They won't say the things, but they're taking notes. Yeah, they're taking notes. If you're a quiet person, if you're an introvert, you know what I'm talking about. You're not going to say things out loud, but you're remembering things that people are doing and you're not forgetting. Yeah. Another thing, your softness is not weakness. Just because you are kind, just because you are quieter, does not make you weak. I'm going to repeat, your softness is not weakness. Just because you are kind, just because you are quiet, does not make you weak. And this is where people underestimate you. Yeah. Because you are soft and kind and quiet, this is a strategic advantage for you. Because remember, you are the one taking all the notes. You're taking all the physical notes and the mental notes. You're aware of your environment and you're more sensitive to what's going on. So use that against people who underestimate you. Don't think and don't let them think that your softness is weakness. Okay? Your softness is not weakness. The last point about how being underestimated is an advantage is adaptability. You can adapt to any situation and any surrounding. I guarantee you. You can adapt to a new country, a new way, because you have to do the research. You have to collect data. You have to observe deeper than everybody else. That's why you win when it comes to being underestimated. But here's a bonus. I'm going to give you a last bonus. As someone who is a quiet leader, as I said, just because you are kind doesn't make you weak. Your boundaries, regardless of how comfortable and uncomfortable other people will make you feel. You have to stick to your boundaries. Repeat after me. Stick to my boundaries. If you say no, don't touch me, follow it through. If you say no, I don't want to do this, follow it through. I have three ways that I do this myself in real life. If I speak to someone and they don't quite agree with me, I'll say, I don't really agree with that. Very calm. That's the first one. Second time, I'll say, John, I think I told you before, but that thing that you did makes me feel uncomfortable. That's the second time. The third time, I don't say anything. I walk away. I make them realize that they've overstepped the boundaries. I block, I delete, I stop talking because I've given you all the warnings. So, as an introvert, you have to learn to stick to your boundaries, regardless of how comfortable or uncomfortable you make other people feel, because they're making you uncomfortable and awkward. Therefore, you've got to stick to your boundaries. That's me giving you that big sister talk. Stick to your boundaries. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop here. But I want to say that if you want to learn how to stop outsourcing your voice for other people, you can use one of the tools that I have in my link in my description. It's called the Shine Compass. If it doesn't show right now, it will show after the live. But the Shine Compass is basically a tool that allows you to understand which part of my life am I shrinking in and which part of my life do I need to improve my confidence and my communication and the way that I communicate. Yeah. You can use this in any way, in authority situation, as we said, in relationships, and in visibility situation at work. You can use it in any single way. But what you can also do is, if you want to stop shrinking and stop outsourcing your voice, you can connect with me in the link in the bio and find out how you can work with me on a one-to-one. I do calls with people. I've been working with people from different countries, people whose English is not their first language and whose English is their first language, to really embrace how they speak, embrace how they come across, embrace how they become more visible, but also through this whole time of traveling and being a digital nomad and living in Ghana, I've been pushing myself. So this is my advice to you if you want to learn to stop outsourcing your voice for other people. My name is Mati Sikaminsende. I am also known as the Sunshine CEO, and I hope you've learned something from today. And I'd love to know, how are you going to put this advice into action? Stop outsourcing your voice for other people. All right. See you soon.